Hunting run.
Which is a smaller area. This is where they used to have the maintenance of the gondola facility. It's created as with hunting scenes, and it's a smaller area where it's about, we can seat about 100 people in here. It's about 220 in the other. They're all original. And these are the stage architects. Probably the Gillette party.
The T what?
The Gillette.
What's that?
Gillette. That's Mr. Gillette who owns.
Oh, Mr. Gillette.
Right.
Yeah.
We had a lot of
famous actors, like as I don't know, Jim Morrison before he died.
Tom Cruise or something has been here a couple of times. Yeah.
Had a party?
No, just private.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have a lot of people come up here and they come in incognito.
Has Oprah been here?
I don't know.
Jerry Springer?
Could have been. I haven't seen Jerry Springer, no. The Prince Luitpold von Bayern from Bavaria has been over here several times, and he wanted to establish a brewery in Vail.
Yeah.
Why Vail?
What's this one? This is what?
This is the Dunkel. Dark.
And then just set it right in front of me.
Sweden, Russia, many different countries, Croatia, but this is Italy. This is the first time in the United States. And he came up with the idea early spring 1997 that he would like to start on this, and the gondola building was empty. And made an agreement with Vail Resort.
He's interested. It's fascinating. The prince.
This is the prince, yeah?
He's been a prince
since he was born.
Of course. 700 years, right? The family.
Yes. Yeah.
Bavarian.
That's correct.
And they've been brewers for 700 years.
Right.
You've been a brewer for 35 years.
35 years. Only 35.
And you're from Bavaria.
I'm from Denmark. Copenhagen.
Denmark.
Copenhagen, yeah.
Right.
But going back to the three beers they brew. Heavy product. It's really a lager, very easy, has caramel malt in it to give it some special flavor.
Okay, you haven't been to the American Beer Festival yet. You're going to put some beers in this coming year?
Right. We contacted them, and I've been involved in the Great American Beer Festival almost since it started. And we are entering our beers into the Great American Beer Festival. But last weekend, Ralph and Chad were over in Beaver Creek, and there were 43 breweries, and we were named #1, I guess.
Yeah. Cool. You were named #1?
Yeah.
How's that?
We basically won.
You won?
Yeah.
At Beaver Creek?
At Beaver
Creek. The local festival that took place in April.
That's right. So we're pretty proud of that.
Tabernash Brewing Company merged with Left Hand, and they moved up here to Longmont. Eric Wallace joins us. We visited with him over the past 2 years. So what's been going on since the last time we saw you?
Well, we've got a lot of construction going on. Our two companies decided to merge. Neither one of us owns a 12-ounce bottling line, and that's most popular beer would be the Blackjack Porter, which is kind of surprising. That's my favorite. That's a really nice chocolatey dark beer. Drinks really nicely. Good model to explain it. There's a lot of guesswork and a lot of the seat of the pants stuff. Every brewing system has a different geometry, and goes beyond science, and it's basically an art form. He had enough homebrewing experience and has brewed so much beer that he's like, well, I'm going to try this or I'm going to try that. He kind of has this feeling for what it's going to do to the beer. I kind of do more of the tasting side. Well, we'll taste it and we'll discuss it, and because he drinks coffee in the morning and that destroys your taste buds. An auger system to pull all of the spent grain out without us having to manually shovel it. Conditioning room, pretty much the same also, full of tanks still. And then we work our way out. There's a walkway over to the new building.
Brewery and Tabernash Brewery here in Longmont, we go to Denver to Rock Bottom and to Walnut Brewery, which are two microbreweries inside a restaurant. Part of our 1998 annual Brew Pub show.
Great.
Why do they call you a brew goddess?
Well, there's actually ancient lore that talks about women in brewing in Egyptian lore where goddesses came down, and one was sent down to get things under control because the people were going wild. Then the goddess went wild, and so the god Ra sent down beer, and Hathor, I believe her name was, drank it up, mellowed out, calmed down. So that's where the term with beer and goddesses got together.
You're kidding.
Huh.
This is a true story?
It's a true story.
Oh my God, I just kind of made it up. I didn't know that. And then do the same thing coming back this way. Then we get you facing us.
There's over 90% of the workforce, I believe, is men. And so it's kind of intimidating for women to get into the field just to put their foot in the door. Up a wall that say, well, you're a woman, you can't deadlift a keg over your head, you can't possibly brew.
Oh, so there's like this physical thing you have to lift stuff?
Yeah, but it's kind of a fallacy. My presence in this brew house, for example, I looked at things where it required brute force, and I changed them. So you still think I'm not strong enough, huh?
Sit me down, Deb, would you?
All right. Working in the brew house, brewing to me is an art and a science. You can be creative with it. Currently, my creative string is taking me the route of wooden barrels.
Can you see her?
6, 8, 12 weeks, pick up the oak flavors, pick up the flavors from the cherries. This type of creative outlet is very key when you're dealing sometimes with an art that is a lot of science involved in it too. It's the
Good? Great.
Good. Yeah.
Everybody waving
Hang on,
bye. Bye, see you tonight.
Fritz, who was the brewer there, he really loved his job.
Yeah.
In fact, he loved it a little too much, because as weeks went on, he would test more and more and more in larger quantities each day. And one day there just wasn't any beer around, and I was a little thirsty. The water there is, at the time wasn't very good, so you drank beer instead. So I decided that I needed to take up the cause and start brewing it myself, because we didn't want everybody to dehydrate themselves. And I was in the brew house brewing one day, and Frank Pilsners found me in there, and we hit it right off, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come to America? I'll get you to America, don't worry about it." And I said, "Great, I'm a little tired of this
This is another
place."
Frank Day story. And Fritz, what was he? Was Fritz just like a major drunk? He couldn't get the beer together for the pub and the
Well, he became that way. He started making more and more styles of beer, so we constantly had to taste them, and pretty soon he was just tasting a lot of a lot.
Who taught you how to speak English?
Frank Day.
Frank Day taught you how. Okay. It's another Frank Day story right here. That's it. What's the difference between this one and the one in Boulder in terms of beer?
In terms of beer, we're pretty much doing the same thing. All the Rock Bottoms and Walnuts have their individual beers.
Yeah.
We share some similar names, but we're each doing our own recipes. That's okay, don't worry about it. I'll call him back. Well, you don't tell me how long to stand here and stand in the snow and water.
So you can get up and you can do anything you want to. You carry like the heavy bags of grain?
Pretty much. Here's the mash tun, shovel it out. So here's the scrub brush, scrub, and that's what it was. No glory really.
Yeah.
Your free beer at the end of the day was the big benefit. We got the Buffalo Gold.
Yeah.
It's kind of the old standby for Walnuts. It's kind of the flagship beer of all the Walnut breweries.
What beer is it?
It's a gold. It's kind of your. It used to be kind of a training wheels type beer for people to start drinking micro beers.
Practice become alcoholics, or?
Well, it takes a little practice.
Right. No, is it a wheat beer?
No, it's not. It's just kind of I would, if somebody comes in here and they're like an MGD drinker, I'd point them right to the Buffalo Gold. It's it's a good beer to start out with when you're starting out drinking microbrews, and your palate's not real edgy. It's brewed with all German hops. Munich malt, pale malt.
And it's called a what?
It's a Maibach,
Maibach, okay.
meaning May.
Yeah, a May beer.
Yep, exactly. Traditionally produced for the springtime.
Yep.
It's a fun little beer. It's got a nice big round malty body to it, and definitely a kick of some alcohol in it. Something else we do here is the Devil's Back Stout. We spend a lot of time kind of perfecting the nitrogen system to really compete with Guinness. It gives a really nice creamy head. Real rich and full-bodied. If you like stouts, you're really going to love this beer. It's got a real nice, sweet malty taste to it. A little bit of a robust finish from the roasted malt, and a rich, creamy head. It'll stick with it like a Guinness. If they got the perfect pour, so do I. This is the old granddad Devil's Back Stout. We take stout, pull it off the fermenters, and let it condition in old 50-gallon oak barrels that old granddad was stored in. So we're absorbing some of the bourbon flavor off of it.
Oh, from old granddad.
Yeah, and it gives it a really unique flavor. It is quite a popular beer because of that. It's just a really neat bourbon flavor.
This is the hair of the dog kind of beer right here.
There you go.
Estes Park Brewery here in Estes Park at 7,200 feet. The elk are down from the mountains, and we go in and visit with Eric, who's the brewmaster, to learn about the
which is our most popular beer. Raspberry wheat, which is another very good summer beer. Kind of a tribute to the big bull elk that was poached up here about 2 years ago, and we give all the a percentage of the proceeds of that go to Stop Game Thief. Samson was one of the biggest elks that and he was a very important part of the town, and a lot of people knew who he was when they came here to visit. They saw Samson, and it was kind of a big blow to the town when he got poached, taken out, executed.
I'm David Zuckerman. I'm the head brewer at Rocky's Brewing Company.
What do you do?
What do I do? That's a good question. I guess I am ultimately responsible for the quality and consistency of all the Boulder beers. I oversee all the production. Five seasonals. We have the ESB, Cliffhanger, Fall Fest, Igloo, the Vice, and Buffalo Gold. Redesigned the bottle, redesigned our six-packs, and actually today we did a test packaging of our latest seasonal product, which is going to be a Bavarian style Weiss beer.
Can you tell us about that?
Oh boy, can I? Yep.
This is your first wheat beer. Why is that? Because wheat beers are just tremendously popular.
Because Well, when I came here, I had an aversion to wheat beers.
Oh, you had an aversion to wheat.
And I've been lucky enough in my job to have some editorial control over the beers we produce, which is one reason we don't produce a fruit beer.
Okay.
But it's technically, wheat beers, I think, are very difficult beers to produce.
See you guys.
We've won, but we're only as good as the last beer that anybody has consumed. So if you let the science take over, I think you lose your soul. If you let the art take over, you're probably going to go out of business. So
because not a lot of people are going to want to drink really dark, heavy beers.
Right. You can be esoteric and out of business, or you can be pleasing to the consumer and consistent, and you're good.
Good.
Yep, you are...
Ryan Martyr, microbiologist at Rocky's Brewing Company. And I'm membrane filtering the beer to determine that there are no microbes in it that are quality negative.
No, could you say that in English?
We're testing the beer to make sure that nothing in it will make it bad in its shelf life. So these are just agar plates like you'd have in any micro lab, and we're filtering 100 milliliters of beer, putting it through these filters. Any microbes that are caught on these filters will grow up in the nutrients that we supply them in the agar plates. So there is a science to beer quality, and we're pretty serious about it.
Because I'm also a doctor of chiropractic. Kind of beers I plan on introducing, besides the main beers.
Brewer? You ever combined the two?
It has not yet because the time consuming. Being a brewer is fairly time consuming.
You ever make any marijuana beer?
I never have.
Nope, we haven't found anybody yet on this show that made marijuana beer. I'm sure there's someone out there someplace. Now, people don't start drinking here till 5 o'clock, right?
I start around noon. Okay, this is our blonde. This is our German-style Kolsch. It's bringing up a Hefe. This is also a German-style beer. It's a Bavarian Hefe. You'll get a little bit of a banana flavor in there. Our Piranha Pale Ale is our hoppy beer. We have Jeremiah Red, which has won a silver medal at the Great American Beer Fest and a silver at the World Beer Championship. PM Porter. It's a nice, friendly porter, and Tatanka Stout, which is a very aggressive imperial-style stout. Very high alcohol.
Hi, I'm Alex Buchner. I'm BJ's Director of Brewing Operations. I oversee our operation here.
We got here just one moment. That's fine. Sure.
Most of us were just home brewers. We're all home brewers at heart who got serious about brewing professionally at some point in our lives. I did so about 7 years ago. I was working a corporate job and got sick of wearing a suit every day, so I put my suits away and started brewing beer. And it's the smartest thing I've ever done.